Hey, hey, how are we all doing, guys? We're here for another episode of Championship Wrestling. It is Wednesday, week 1 of February. We are finally into February. This episode, then one more, and we have our next pay-per-view, which is Last Man Standing. Definitely going to get some more matches announced for that tonight. But I did want to start off with a little bit of in-game world news. TCW has just gotten a deal with Maple Leaf Sports and on our Udemand Canada, I believe, um, to show their TV shows and their events. So we are definitely going to need to kick our, kick our hope gains of popularity into gear. We haven't gained any yet. So we're definitely going to have to step up with that or have a chance of even losing some ground in our home country. So I have a few plans for that. We'll see how that goes going forward. But as far as the show, let's go ahead and get started. Uh, Aaron Knight's music hits to start the show, and he walks to the ring. The announcers point out that he's not posing to the crowd. He's not high-fiving anybody walking down the ramp. You don't even see a smile on his face. Cameron Vesey, you son of a bitch. I've had it with your little obsession with me. Ever since I beat you for the CWA title, you just haven't been able to reconcile. You may have wrestling in your blood. You may be one of the best in the world, but when I took that title, you realized that I'm better than you. I'm a better wrestler, I'm a better champion, and I'm damn sure a better man than you are. So, as I enter the home stretch of my journey back to the title, where better place to go than to where my first journey with it began, by beating you. Last man standing, you and me in the middle of this ring. No sneak attacks, no double teams. Then, after I've beaten you again, I'll become champion and you'll just be another guy who wasn't good enough to take me down. Aaron Knight looked good. Angle got the crowd hotter. Started the show off with a strong start. Gotta love that. 83. Not the best promo that we ever had, but I mean, never gonna complain about that. Right, our first match. In a good match, Double J and Bloodstone and the Montreal Mafia defeated Sonny Wildside, David Stone, and the DeColt Boys in 10:41 when Jared Johnson submitted Jack DeColt with a Carolina crossface after blatantly cheating. Um, it's a fairly even matchup, but the baby faces kind of seem to always have an answer for whatever the heels are throwing at them. Just kind of, they got their number. Ricky looks like he's got Jared Johnson beat at the end, but the Montreal Mafia take out Wildside and Stone on the outside. That causes the ref to break his focus just as Ricky hits his finisher. He scores the visual padded pinfall. Everybody sees it, and he's frustrated, obviously. So Ricky just hops over the ropes and dives off to clear out all the men at the ringside. But Johnson seizes this opportunity. He goes out to the ringside too, tosses him into the steps, tosses him back into the ring, and locks on that Carolina crossface, and he has to tap out. Segment got a 75. David Stone benefited from having a hot new move, and the match got the crowd hotter. Right, don't think this next match will be nearly as good. Not even close. In an extremely short match, Omar Brown defeated Mountie Man by 453, or in 453 by submission with an Anaconda Vice. Omar Brown, during the match, he gets cheered every time he takes offense, and it's clear that he's enjoying it. He's been booed for so long. And pretty quickly he locks in the Anaconda Vice and gets the win. But post-match, an angry Mountie Man tries to jump Brown from behind, and when Brown turns around, he grabs Mountie Man by his collar and hoists him up, and the crowd goes wild. So he kind of gestures, he's asking the crowd, should he beat him up? And the crowds, of course, are going crazy because, remember, folks, everybody hates Mountie Man. So Brown hurls him to the ground, and kind of whoops them all around the ring in the ringside area as Mountie Man tries to escape, and he's just kind of, beating him up all over the place. As you can see, I named the segment Omar Brown Kicks Mountie Man's Ass, so that's basically what happens. The performance of Mountie Man was good. He worked the crowd well. Segment got 61, and Omar Brown turned babyface. we've had a little bit of hints of this leading up to this, and it's not necessarily that I do or don't have anything big planned for him. We just had a really uneven roster as far as heels and baby faces go. So Omar is now a face, but obviously still has no problem beating people up, especially if they're Mountie Man. All right, a video from earlier in the day plays. Mark Dubois and Princeton Price are arguing backstage when Diablo Duvak shows up and essentially says they're both losers. Price suggests they should go to Steve DeColt's office and request a match to settle this. When in walks Lee Rivera and Jenny Playmate. And Jenny runs all three of the men down. We all know no one wants to watch the three of you in a match, so why don't you get some real star power in there? And even though none of you will win, you'll look like bigger stars next to my man than any of you would in victory. 55 rating, not great, but Price did a masterful job of improvising. Duvak enjoyed the freedom to go off script. Jenny Playmate struggled when going off script, which is funny because I tried to script this segment and she refused, or, gave the prompt that she would prefer to work without one. So I didn't, and here she is, messing it up. And Mark Dubois is getting better at his gimmick. All right, and in that match, they did set up. In a decent match, Lee Rivera defeated Mark Dubois, Princeton Price, and Diablo Duvak in 12-13 when Lee Rivera pinned Princeton Price with a daredevil drop. All four men are just kind of hitting their high-flying, flashy maneuvers. Everyone they know. It's kind of one of the reasons I set up this match. They're all really flashy and have good aerial skills. Duvak hits Mark Dubois with his finish, but then Princeton Price, he throws him out of the ring, and he's going to steal it. Looks like he's going to pin Mark Dubois when the last second Lee Rivera comes in with the daredevil drop and hits Princeton Price with it. And he kind of steals the win from the guy trying to steal the win. Segment gets a 68, so not bad. Lee Rivera and Jenny Playmate have good chemistry, and the match got the crowd buzzing, so obviously that steal the show worked. All right, let's go ahead. Ooh, I think that might be our best segment rating we've ever had. 90, not bad at all. Cameron Vesey is shown seated in his locker room. He runs over all his accomplishments in the business, but even he admits the one thing he's never done is beat Aaron Knight one-on-one. So, he accepts this night's challenge, and even goes as far as to promise no surprise attacks, no cheap shots until then. He says, I've already got your attention. When I beat you next Saturday, I don't want you to have any excuses. I want Aaron Knight at his best. I want your A game. Did a masterful job of improvising interactions with the crowd. Yeah. Right, that match did not do as well as I wanted, but not bad. In a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Sean McFly and Thunder and Lightning defeated Elite, Blockbuster, Sid Collier, and Cam Jones in 10:41 when Jason Thunder pinned Blockbuster with a Thunderstruck. In terms of the in-ring work, Sean McFly was head and shoulders above everyone else. Blockbuster was the weak link, struggling to keep up with everyone else's performance. Gets a 72. So the Dynamite Express, they take turns working over Lightning Lomas after the initial back and forth that starts everything off. But he eventually gets a hot tag to Sean McFly after Sid Collier showboats for too long. Collier tags in Blockbuster, though, before McFly can get his hands on him, and the two big guys, they meet in the middle and start throwing wild punches. Blockbuster ends it with a massive right hand that drops Sean, and Blockbuster goes to pick up McFly off the mat, but he reverses it into an arm drag and follows it up with a released German. And he tags in Jason Thunder. But right when he tags in Jason Thunder, McFly, being the veteran, he charges to the opponent corner and he clotheslines Cam Jones off the apron and brawls with Sid Collier to the outside. With them taken out and nobody to break up any pins or anything, Jason Thunder hits a dazed Blockbuster with a Thunderstruck, and they get the win. Not only do they get the win, Thunder and Lightning get the momentum going over their opponents at the next pay-per-view for the tag titles, but Sean McFly has won his first of Christian Price's challenges, whatever you want to call them, the matches that he kind of wants Sean, or needs Sean to win if he wants his title shot. Drake Young did some good work at ringside. All right. Amber Allen is shown walking backstage when the Queen's Court block her path. It looks like another 3-on-1 beatdown, but Ariel Breaks and Zoe Amos attack Young and Conroy from behind, and then Allen throws a forearm to a surprise Nadia Snow that kind of staggers her. They brawl out of view to end the segment. Nadia Snow enjoyed the freedom golf script and performed well, and Jessica Conroy improvised well. I think we might have something in Jessica Conroy going forward. She's a ways off, but if this turns into a pretty long-term save, I think she could be a major player down the line. All right, not as great as I wanted again, but still not. Nothing's been terrible so far. In a decent match, Eric Strong defeated Dapper Danny Draper in 10:07 by pinfall with a strong salt. Draper, he puts in a valiant effort. He goes as far as to get a couple 2 counts on Eric Strong, including a very convincing one after superplexing Strong after he went up for his finish. But eventually, Strong's experienced. He just proves too much to handle. He hits a jumping facebuster on Danny Draper, and then the strong salt lies down. Eric Strong seemed off his game. They had good chemistry, though. So that's good to know. We could obviously come back to that and, almost guarantee a better rating. Because Strong, as long as Strong's not off his game again. Segment gets a 65. Okay, there's... In a poor match, that's the first time we've seen it tonight, so I'm not going to complain. Gen Z defeated the Rock City Stars in 7:48 when Flip Simpkins pinned Stan Mana with a boomer blast. It's another kind of fast-paced match, which kind of one of the themes of the night. The Rock City Stars run out of gas, though, and Flip Simpkins, as it says, pinned Stan Mana with the boomer blast. Haley Hunter did some good work at ringside. Excuse me 1 second, guys. I'm going to grab a drink. All right. Next segment. Okay. Samuel Curran enters Steve DeColt's office to find him already chatting with Mr. Impact. DeColt, in a voice that's almost too quiet for the mic to pick up, but obviously not quite enough, he tells Impact, "We just have to stop making it so obvious, okay?" And then he turns his attention to Curran, who asks the CEO for his thoughts on the challenge in response between Aaron Knight and Cameron Vesey tonight. As you know, I pay close attention to all our Raw broadcasts, and as soon as I heard this back and forth, I went ahead and made the match official. At last man standing, it will be Aaron Knight versus Cameron Vesey one-on-one. In addition, I've seen in these past few weeks that the hostilities between the Queen's Court and Amber Allen are far from over. That is why I've signed off on a 6-women's tag match for next Saturday. The Queen's Court versus Amber Allen, Ariel Breaks, and Zoe Amos. The usual from both of these guys. Yeah, segment gets an 81. Okay, that's all of our angles this week feel like they were pretty good, except the one backstage one. Christian Price is shown in his locker. He's flanked by Drake Young. He didn't have a match earlier, so of course he's just going to be standing there. He says he's annoyed, but he should have known that even in his old age, Sean McFly wouldn't go down that easy. It's alright though, Sean. You've wrestled 2 tough matches now, 2 weeks in a row. So, why don't we test that cardio of yours? Next week, you're going to face off against one of the greatest high flyers in Canadian history, and it's sure to be thrilling. Segment gets an 83. On to the main event. I'm interested to see how this one does. We're doing something very different this time. I'm not expecting it to do great, but I wasn't really expecting us to gain much pop anyway, so I wanted to give something a shot. Okay, alright. In a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Brooke Tyler and Laura Flame defeated Lauren Easter and Sally Ann Christensen in 13:08 when Brooke Tyler submitted Sally Ann Christensen with a Brooke Breaker. In terms of in-ring work, Brooke Tyler was head and shoulders above everyone else. Segment gets 74. Sally Ann Christensen and Laura Flame start the match after kind of having that exciting exchange last week in the multi-women's tag match. They pick up right where they left off. Christensen begins to gain the upper hand and throws Flame into the ropes, but Flame does the drop down, then leapfrogs over her. But instead of going for an attack on the rebound, she changes direction and tags in Brooke Tyler. Christensen tries her best, but Tyler's grappling ability is just too much to handle, and the franchise takes control. She grinds down Christensen with some rest holds, And Tyler's so comfortable in control that she taunts Easter from the ring and at one point goes to hit Lauren Easter's finisher, the belly to belly, on her own partner. But Sally Ann reverses it. She just kind of lands behind Tyler on her feet and shoves her face first into the turnbuckle. She gets the tag to Easter. She's just been jumping up and down. She's begging to get out there at this point. And Lauren jumps over the top rope, but Tyler is already tagged in Laura Flame. And she catches Easter with a stiff thrust kick right away. Easter's kind of hunched over, so Laura Flame goes for her signature scissor kick to the back of the head, but Easter popped her up at the last moment and hits a power bomb. She gets a near fall, which is broken up by Tyler, but that buys enough time for the women to get on even footing, and they kind of get back to their feet, and then they just start hitting the big moves back and forth. Flame hits a massive combination that knocks Easter to her knees. She's wobbly, all that. But she charges at Easter, and Easter pops up and catches her with the exploder suplex into the corner, Sami Zayn style. And both women are down. They barely beat the 10 count, but they both get up and stumble to their corners and tag in their partners. And as soon as, Sally Ann and Brooke are back in the ring, Brooke Tyler locks in the Brooke Breaker. It's, the first thing, basically as soon as they lock up. And it's game over because Easter and Flame are still stunned. Nobody's breaking up anything, and the heels get the victory to end the show. Laura Flame seemed off her game. She's still at 57, so we probably could have gotten a better rating on this match. All in all, though, like I said, I wasn't expecting the biggest, the highest rating, just because I think Brooke Tyler is really the only one with a decent pop. Right, final rating, 77, so, obviously that 90 rated angle saved us. Wasn't expecting any popularity changes. I'm just happy it didn't go down. So, hopefully in the next couple weeks, some of the things I'm working on to get us some more pop and stuff will come into effect. And, we have one more episode, and then we have our next pay-per-view, our second one, Last Man Standing. So, see you in a few days, guys.